Spoilers for Amori. I love Basil. Yes, the Basil from the hit indie psychological horror game Amori, really released in 2020. I love him. Genuinely my favorite character out of all my favorite characters. I'm just going to be talking about how and why I love him so much. Now, let's get on with the reasons. Number one, he's a very complex character. If you've seen Amori, which you haven't, what are you doing? Go play it right now. You already know that Basil is definitely not mentally stable. Way far from that. Now, before I get on with how he's a complex character, let's get with how I started liking Basil. Honestly, when I first checked out the game, I had no favorite character. Don't get me wrong, all the characters are great, just none of them in particular stood out to me. Anyways, you know one old trend where I was like, they call him Hermit the Frog, and it lists out like a bunch of different negative traits of a character, and at the end they say, you're just a little bit too much like me. Yeah, I did that trend with Basil before we started this channel. And when I was listing out all of his negative traits, I realized that, yeah, he was a little bit too much like me. Anyways, back to reason number one. Basil is definitely not okay. Like, this kid needs serious help. Personally, as much as I relate to Basil, I'm definitely not on the level of mentally unstable as him. Like, I genuinely would consider me a hopeful and optimistic person. And anyway, unrelated, but since Basil is probably the most complex character in Mori, he gets a lot of hate. Not really that much now, but if I had labels for who was the most popular character in Mori, the most underrated character in Mori, and the most hated character in Mori, I would say Kel, Hero, and Basil. People either always label him as a cute, soppy twink fanboy, or a monster who kills people and is unworthy of redemption. Like, he's neither of those. I think Basil is a morally great character, in my opinion. And just because a boy is shy and likes flowers and is just a nice person, doesn't mean that all he is a femboy. Same for the second stereotype. I'm not gonna say that Basil is an innocent little being that could do nothing wrong, but he helped Sunny frame him as suicide because he was best friend, because he cared for her safety, because he didn't want to get Sunny in trouble, and other sorts of reasons. Also, just so you know, I'm not trying to justify what he did, but more so explain why he did what he did. And for stabbing Sunny's eye, they were both scared. Sunny attacked, Basil attacked, and I don't really have much to say other than Basil didn't want Sunny to leave because that's his best friend. And probably because he's going to leave him along with the truth. Also because of their trauma bond. Again, not justifying his actions, but explaining them. Anyways, moving on to the next reason. Number two, I relate to him. For what I said in the other section, I'm not as mentally unstable as Basil, of course. But there's still some things I can relate to about him. Like, for example, a few years back after COVID, I didn't have a lot of friends because we were all isolated. A few years later, I was in a friend group, but was really paid attention to or ignored. Just like how before Basil's group, he was alone and was probably not paid attention to. 2021 was not my best school year. I was shy, awkward, didn't have any friends, and if I had one, they would just move away. I was just a loner. Basil is, or was, shy, awkward, and probably didn't have any real friends that he kept in touch with before Aubrey. That's why I relate to him so much. Also, I'm a pretty emotional person, so I can relate to him for being kind of sensitive. Do not ever even call him a crybaby, or else I will find you. Anyways, you know how some people say Sunflower is toxic? I didn't have any reason to bring that up, but like a year ago, I lost a very close friend of mine and other very close friends. I felt like I was lonely, especially since those people were literally my best friends and like one of the people I know that I can talk to. I relate with Basil a lot for missing people, except for having accidents with Sunny. I promise I'm not insane. Like how Sunny moved, so my close friends moved. Anyways, that's the end of this reason. Moving on to the next, which is kind of weird. Number 3. Basil is cute. Yes, I said it. Also, I don't mean romantically if that's what you're thinking. Like, dude, how do you look at this guy and tell me he's a normal guy? I don't know how many times I drew him before because this guy is genuinely addictive. Basil has consumed 90% of my life. Maybe he's gonna get the other 10% at this point. I love all Basils. Maybe even stranger if you count him as a Basil. But he's just so lovable. I don't get how some people can hate this guy. I love him, and I cannot stand to see him cry. Also, way off topic, but how is the neutral ending called the neutral ending? Like both Sunny and Basil die. And if you're gonna say, oh, Fire, you're only saying this because you love Basil and you don't care about Sunny, you're absolutely wrong. Obviously, you could tell by this video that I definitely love Basil more than the other characters. But that doesn't change the fact that I love Sunny as well. Sunny is like my 4th favorite next to Aubrey and Mari. And Sunny is just very adorable, and I don't know why. Back on track. The bad ending was a very, very bad. Duh. But the call to neutral ending, I mean, in the bad ending, after Sunny died, Basil might as well kill himself too. So I guess the bad ending and the neutral ending are equal. But whatever. On to the conclusion. Basil is my favorite character out of all my fandoms. I love mostly his character, his relatability, squishiness, and everything about him. Now, since we're done with the video, if you want, if this even reaches anybody, I guess you can write your own favorite character that you're really obsessed with. I'd love to hear your guys' characters. Anyway, now that this is over, bye, guys.